means that you cannot, do things with people in person. And so, what Jib Jab does is very important to basically fill that gap. And birthdays are one of these events that in quarantine cannot be celebrated in person. So we saw, I wouldn't say like that opportunity, because it's also a business, so it's also like a business opportunity, but I feel like that in that specific moment, it was very important for us to give our subscribers a tool to, basically connect with their loved ones. And like what you were saying before, it's also true, because we have created tens of new birthday cards, but also we have focused on creating some pieces specific for what is happening in the world. And so this like quarantine birthday, it's probably one of the piece of content with the fastest turnaround we have ever created in Jib Jab, because I feel like that we made it in something short of a week. And I cannot share the numbers, but has been one of the most successful pieces in our library in the past month. And that tells how creating like a piece of content that is like high quality, relevant, really clicks with our audience. And also we have like a funny piece which is called like F 2020 for everyone that's had enough of this 2020 and is like hopeful that 2021 will be like a better year. So we like to do that thing. Things are like tragic for a lot of people, but laughter sometimes is like the best medicine.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. And on that point, it looks like the video is ready. So let's cue the video and show an example of Jib Jab. Oh man. that, that is so great. And
I
so
love you as a baby swimming. That was the best
I like
part.
riding on the back of your unicorn.
Oh yeah, or me hugging a pizza.
It's so good. You cannot. There's no way to not smile when you're watching those. So it just seeing that example. I mean, there's so much work that goes into that, right? There's the content licensing. It looks like you have the Jonas Brothers in there. There's the artistic process. How many people, like, talk to me about your team? How many people are involved in creating a Jib Jab, and how long does it take?
So we have like different formats in Jib Jab. So we have the standard e-cards, which are the 1 minute, 1 minute and 30. And those are the one that usually, I would say, depending on the technique, but right now that we cannot, have like live shootings and, so everything is like motion design. So I would say that for like an e-card that we're talking about like a month in terms of like production. And clips are our new format, and they are like 20 seconds long. The difference between clips and e-cards is that clips can be shared via text message, so it makes it even easier to share like a short format. And then we have music videos, and this is like licensed content. We apply the Starring You magic to it. And then we have like, GIFs, which are like the free content that you can find in our app. So it really depends on the moment. Like I said, like the quarantine birthday, we basically summon all the production power in the team, and we gave us like a hard deadline, and that was it. But I would say that the clip is usually like 2 to 3 weeks, an e-card, a month to a month and a half. But we don't have like an incredibly big, creative team. We have like few animators, a couple of like production artists, 3 designers, and so forth. So it's really like I was saying in the beginning, it's like such a small, passionate team that whenever we have a new project, everyone is so excited, and that is like fuel, for me, because there is nothing better than when you have a team. You don't have to motivate them. They almost motivate me, and I just need to tell them like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this project, any ideas? And it's just a fun, interesting process.
Yeah, seeing that the clip that we shared really makes me think that your team must have a lot of fun in the idea room and just kind of brainstorming what you can do. Like so many of those ideas are just so off the wall and so fun. How do you decide like what ultimately makes it in the Jib Jab? And I mean, I assume there's so many ideas coming out of your team, and obviously just talking to you for a little bit, I can tell you're a creative guy. But how do you decide what makes the final cut?
Well, sometimes it's very hard because my role, in my role, I have to pick one, but sometimes it's very hard because, when we brainstorm, like every single person, comes up with like interesting ideas. Um, we have access to data. So Jib Jab is a very creative company, but we're like data driven. So we look at the data, we see the numbers, around like a specific card or a specific topic or a specific scene. So we know what is working, all the ingredients. So if you sprinkle a little bit of dance, if you sprinkle, this kind of music, if it's like a cast 5 during a specific holiday, we know that by putting this ingredient together, there is a very high chance of success. But I'll tell, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because I am overwhelmed, not just by my ideas, but by the team's ideas. So, but I'm happy to say that, like, if I look back, the past 2 years of the content that we have created, the numbers, are very good. We have changed something since, when you look back at the previous, content collection. So we have started to do something new, more modern, and it's resonating with our audience. So we're pretty happy.
Cool. And I love the animation versus kind of live shooting. Was that something that happened post quarantine or after quarantine, or was that happening? Were you already experimenting with the kind of digital animation?
That was like one of the thing when I came on board that I wanted to, promote more within the team, which was like, character animation, compared to live. We had a lot of like content with like actors and green screen and all of that. But I feel like that, by doing character animation, we would have been able to create like more whimsical animation, like you were quoting before, the me and you riding the unicorn. I mean, that is something that, it didn't take long as an animation. I mean, if we had to do that in a studio, it would have been more costly and with less option for, customization. So this is definitely, but we're not ruling out, live. Right now it's not doable, but we were supposed to do a couple of things with like actors, but then COVID arrived and changed our plans.
Yep. No, and it seems like you guys are doing such a good job rolling with the punches, and it seems like the ability to create more whimsical content and be even more responsive with how quickly you're getting it out seems like in this time, it's really important to be responsive and adaptive to what's happening. I had the pleasure of moderating a fireside chat with someone from Pernod Ricard a few weeks ago, and she was mentioning how consumer behavior is changing so much. Like right after quarantine, everyone ran to the store and bought as much box wine as they could, and was stocking up on like really cheap stuff. And then over time, people have realized that this is going to happen for a while, and now they're buying $300 bottles of wine to have at home. So I imagine like, consumer and subscriptions, what they're doing on the internet, behavior is changing like within quarantine. It's not just like now that it's quarantine, everyone's doing the same thing, but even within quarantine, are you seeing that, user behavior and, subscriptions, did they like jump up a lot at the very beginning of quarantine, or was there a lag until people realized they were going to be home longer?
Um, I would say that we have seen like a spike as the same as like most of the digital companies, especially in the beginning, when people were more like panicking, when they felt like it was the end of the world, and supermarkets were like raided and all of that. I also think that people had like way more time to spend like on the digital space. So we have seen like a steady increase for the business, because at the end of the day, I mean, the reason why people love Jib Jab content is often related to the reaction of the receiver of the content. Is like, yes, you as the giver are like, oh, this is funny, but again, it's the receiver that makes the product very successful. So during quarantine, again, you want to cheer up people. Like I realized that Jib Jab, especially in the first month and a half, has been very good for like people's mental health. I mean, we got a lot of great feedback about that, because again, like I was saying before, most of the time Jib Jab is like a one-to-one share. You don't share it on social media. I'm sharing to you for the specific goal of making you happy or cheer you up, or sharing with you the love that I have for you. So at the end of the day, there is nothing better than make someone you love happy with just a couple of clicks on your phone. And Jib Jab provides that. You take a photo and immediately you have like thousands of like funny videos that you can share with someone you love. And there has never been like a better period to do that than like these lockdown.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And I think it's so interesting when you talk about one-to-one sharing of content versus, it seems like the more, I like your food analogy a lot, where more fast food content, memes that come out every day, they're cheap and fast, and they're really built for one-to-many sharing, right? They want you to put it on, your wall and have other people share it and try to, go viral. And Jib Jab is a lot more about having, going viral, but with many one-to-one, exchanges of content. Is that intentional? Is that part of the business plan, or is that more just a result of it being personalized content?
I think it's I think it's intentional. I mean, again, I strongly believe that we're so used to GIFs and memes. They're integrated pretty much everywhere, to the point where someone sends you a GIF, you're just scrolling. You know, so the idea with Jib Jab, like I said before, it's like a video. So it's something that you receive, you hit play, and the point is that your face is in that video, and up to 5 friends or family, whatever. So it's really like a moment where you receive the content that, again, it's been a content that we have created, sometimes even a couple of months to create a piece of content. So we're talking about super high production value. And so that's why people pay for Jib Jab. They're not paying, it's not free, because again, the content we create has like a very high value, and not just for us, it's not just production, but it retains like a great value when you share it with someone you love. And that's why for us, the share via text message, share via email are still like very valuable because it means that creates it's a meaningful connection between you and someone you love. So you're less interested in sharing on social media.
Yep, makes sense.
Although a lot of people share on social media.
Yep. No, definitely. And I remember seeing, political season, maybe 8 years ago or 12 years ago, even seeing everything on Facebook was people sharing like a jib jab with some political figures and stuff. So it seems like there's certain ones, certain jib jabs that come out that are shared a lot more on social in like one to many ways. And I imagine those do bring on spurts of user acquisition. Can you tell me a little bit more about the business strategy around how you're acquiring more users? Because obviously with one-to-one, content exchange, you don't really have the same potential to go viral as other platforms that are more one-to-many. So how are you acquiring new users? Is it through traditional advertising or what else?
So like Jib Jab used to be used to be perceived as a seasonal company, so you go to Jib Jab during Christmas and Halloween or like Valentine's Day, because the funny thing, for instance, at Valentine's Day, Jib Jab was like so if you forget to give a gift to your girlfriend and it's too late, you can always go to Jib Jab and buy a nice card, and that's like that's great. So during these specific times, we advertise pretty much everywhere. So we have TV ads, we have radio ads. I don't think, to my memory, that we do like any print, ads, but we do a lot of Facebook. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, Google, but Facebook is by far our main channel for advertising our content, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if it answer in the specifics, but I'm the creative guy, so it's just like a big picture of what we do. But we definitely spend a massive amount of our like revenues in advertising, because like you were saying before, word of mouth is not enough to generate the volume that we have. So
yep. No, and I imagine though that it is a very creative process to bring users through the funnel. Like getting someone to go to Jib Jab, is one thing, but what I noticed is I think you have a way that for free someone can upload their face and create a Jib Jab and see like a couple seconds of it before and then they pay for a subscription before they can share it and things like that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. I was saying that, for instance, in the app, if you go in the app, it's you can browse. The gives are free. We have some very specific pieces of content that are free, which usually are like partnership with like brands or influencers. And then you can absolutely preview every single piece of content, but if you want to send it, that's where when you're hit with the pay gate, and that's where you have to subscribe.
Yep. So to everyone listening right now, this is important. My birthday is in 16 days. I'm having a quarantine birthday. So if you want to send me a jib jab, that would make me smile. So Mauro, aside from jib jab, I know you mentioned just for the audience, funny thing, I run a beard oil company. So Mauro has a great beard. I offered to send him some beard oil. He has a candle company and offered to send me one of his candles. So it's cool. We're both doing creative kind of side projects. When you're working with your team at Jib Jab, are most of the people you're working with like full time on Jib Jab, or is your team like contractors, or it just seems like a really creative group. So I'm curious how you care for that team.
I would say that the ratio is probably 90% full-times and 10% contractors. So we really be, I mean, if we find talents that are not in LA, of course, we go with the, contractor option. But, and this is like something that might change in the future because again, working from home and all of that has changed the dynamics. But we, having the people, here in LA has created a very strong group. We bonded a lot. So right now, when we have to do things, it's almost like autopilot. There is very little, management in terms of like the creative team. We know our task, and and even with the contractors. So, but that's the ratio as of now. But I'm pretty sure that in the future, if all of this will stay as it is, this situation, this ratio will probably skew more towards contractors.
Yep, understood. So I want to ask a question that we didn't really talk about in our prep too much, but just talking to you now, I'm fascinated to learn where your head's at. So mobile, obviously, like everyone's got a phone in their pocket, probably the fastest, easiest way to create a Jib Jab. But with other kind of emerging screens, connected television, everyone has I mean, people are starting to have VR devices at home and all of these other ways of internet-enabled devices. Are you thinking about other screens and emerging media and what Jib Jab can do in other environments from a creative perspective, or is there anything you can share?
So that's a very interesting question. So in the past, we had some apps. There was a point in the history of Jib Jab where we focused on creating like satellite apps as a experiment almost, and we have done like something with AR. So we had these like Jib Jab characters that you could, drop into like a physical space. So we have done that, and we are always aware of the innovation, new technologies. So as of now, we're not focused on that specifically. So we're not thinking about VR or AR. We have been working for the past 3 months on a big side project for Jib Jab, like a product extension. I cannot share like details. I know I cannot share details as of now, but I would say that it's far from like VR. So it's something more traditional that retains the spirit of Jib Jab, which is like giving something funny and very personalized, almost intimate to someone you love. So we really wanted to push more towards that direction. And so I think we will announce it soon, probably in a couple of months. But that has been the team task for the past 2-3 months. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll be following and excited to see that announcement when it happens. Can you tell me a little bit about obviously, so you told me about kind of your team, but just kind of working from home, how has it changed the kind of brainstorming and content development process? Obviously, you can't be all giggling in a room with a whiteboard the way you used to, but has it impacted the creative process not being able to be in person with your team?
Another interesting question. So it hasn't impacted my team because, like I said before, we have been working together for the past 5 years. So I mean, the team has bonded so much that we're working on a telepathic level almost right now. So I can just say, hey guys, we have to do this, video for Halloween, and then the idea comes in. Everyone knows who's gonna do what. The challenge, to be honest, the challenge I will face if this working from home will stay is like when you have new team members, because you haven't spent a single minute with them in person. They have never been in a meeting with everyone else, so that training part will be more challenging, of course, and that is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of companies are facing. And we have hired people between the beginning of quarantine and now, not specifically in my creative team. And it's been interesting to see, how these new hires, warmed up to, working together with us. So it's a challenge for sure, something that we are facing just now that no one before this like coronavirus would have thought. So it's gonna be interesting, but I always feel like that creative people are somehow used to live into this like creative world. Um, so it's not gonna be like incredibly, challenging. That's what I hope.
Yep. Yeah, I've experienced the same thing at Spaceback. So our company, we recreate social media content, and so it can run as programmatic ads for brands. And we work with Nike and Audi and Walmart and some pretty large brands. But we're finding that our biggest challenge is really on the camaraderie side, like business productivity and how we communicate hasn't been as much of a challenge. Like we're all pretty good at working from home. It's more like exactly like you're saying with new team members not being able to share a laugh, together. It's just a lot harder to get to know each other. And I really believe that good work culture is about being accountable to other people more so than accountable to your job. You do a task because your coworkers depending on you doing it, not because it's in your job description.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the harder things to create. So it's awesome to see that your team is working so well together and really continuing to create super innovative content. That if anyone here hasn't seen the quarantine birthday, I'm sure you can look on Facebook and see one of your Facebook friends having a quarantine birthday and send them a Jib Jab, and it really does cheer. I mean, it's just fantastic content, and it really does cheer people up. Like I said, you can't not smile when seeing it. I want to open up questions from the audience, since we only have a few more minutes, and I already have a couple. So, Mauro, I'm gonna read a question from the audience for you here. This one is about reducing media budgets, as many brands have reduced, and I know you're less on the paid media side of things and more on the creative side. So this question might not be directed right
I'll
to
I'll
you.
try. I mean, I'll try to answer. I mean, I have some knowledge. I'm not like the expert in the company. That's why we hire like better people than me. But yeah, I'll try to answer for sure.
Yeah. So the question is, how is your plan adjusted in the paid media world, and I guess with regards to like what channels to advertise on Facebook and other places. But have
Since
you gotten
COVID,
more? Yeah. Have you since COVID? Have you gotten more creative or more efficient with your media plan and media strategies in any ways?
to my knowledge,